Hey, what's going on YouTube? I am back with another story time, and if you do enjoy these stories, please like, subscribe, ring that bell. In case this is the story of the third time throwing up from weed, and this was actually a much more recent occurrence. This was about 6 months ago or so. Since I was reviewing so many different terpenes and whatnot, I had a bunch of those carts lying around. And so I just ended up vaping those carts more than I was even vaping flower. I was barely doing any type of smoking other than Delta 8. And, a lot of people say that, your tolerance basically stays the same, since it's hitting the same receptors and whatnot. But for me, Delta 8 and regular flower interact very differently. In fact, it lowered my tolerance like crazy for regular flower. It was like I had just gone from a crazy long tea break and going into it. And not only that, when I was vaping I basically was, vaping Delta 8 for so long and not even touching any flower for, it was like about a month and a half or so. And then I ended up re-ing up on some regular flower, and I was like, okay, let me I just want some nice tasty flower. And it hit me so weird and so hard. It was, oh man, it was pretty crazy. So I had been vaping Delta 8 all day pretty much, and it's kind of different head high. It's a bit more functional to work with, but once I hit that regular flower, it was like I got the spins, I got nauseous. It was like all of a sudden this high kicked into gear. It was like an edible high when you eat much of an edible and it's all hitting you at once. That's what it felt like. It was just this rush of a high, almost like I had this buildup of Delta 8 and the flower just like bioactivated it, and vice versa as well. Like it kicked both kinds of high into this just crazy gear to where like I said, I got nauseous, I got the spins, and pretty much within 15 minutes of taking like 2 hits of flower, I was puking my guts out in the toilet, and I stayed pretty nauseous for about another hour or so, and then it kind of calmed down, but I was still ripped out of my mind. It made no sense to me. I thought, hey, like it's gonna be similar tolerance, but no. To me, I feel like Delta 8 carts and regular flower, they interact in such an interesting way, at least for me, that they both interact with each other's high to where I just feel like they make each other more bioavailable. That's just what it seems like to me, at least. That's what happens to me. And so a lot of times Delta 8 has actually lowered my flower consumption just in general, the way I've balanced it, to where it's like I take a couple puffs of Delta 8 and then I take a couple puffs of regular flower, and I am just plenty ripped. And that was definitely a learning experience there. Taking a break from regular flower and just doing Delta 8 for a while and coming back to it, it just, some projectile vomiting, lots and lots of, it just, my stomach emptied. I was puking, just the gnarliest bitter bile. But yeah, so definitely when you're smoking Delta 8 and you're balancing between regular weed, maybe it's different for you, but as far as my experience, definitely be careful with that. As far as bouncing back and forth, if you're doing both regularly or like taking a break from one and continuing the other, because it's, like it basically, my tolerance for regular flower got shattered by taking that little break there. It's, oh man, that was just crazy. But it was pretty much simple as that. Like after a couple hours, like I said, it pretty much subsided. Like as far as the nausea, I was still pretty dang high, but it calmed down after that. So it was just basically a matter of laying in bed watching TV. I was still pretty non-functional. It just, my stomach, But yeah, that's the third time I've thrown up from weed. Pretty much the last time. So if you do enjoy this content, I will definitely have more story times in case you have a great rest of your day.